Good day, everyone. The topic that I'm going to discuss is about the Magna Carta for public school teachers, known as Republic Act Number 4670 of June 18, 1996. First, what do you think Magna Carta stands for? So based on my research, it is a royal charter of rights agreed to by King John of England at Runnymede near Windsor on 15 June 1215. Next is that it is considered as the Great Charter because it is one of the most important documents in the history as it established the principle that everyone is subject to the law, even the king, and guarantees the rights of individuals, the right to justice and the right to a fair trial. Now let's put ourselves in an administrator's shoe. So if you were an administrator, how would you attract and retain highly qualified teachers to be part of your workforce? Some may answer a good compensation salary. Some may answer free medical treatment and examinations. So what will be the learning outcomes? So first one, let's evaluate if the provision in the law met the declaration of the policy. And the next is that hypothesized item to be included in the provision. The first one is the declaration of policy coverage, which under section 1 is the declaration of the policy. So it's hereby declared to be the policy of this act to promote and improve social economic status of a public school teachers as well as their living and working conditions in terms of their employment and career in order to favorably existing opportunities in other walk of life as to attract and retain in teaching professions because we are considered as essential factor in our economic growth of the nations. In section 2, which is teachers or known as a Magna Carta for public school teachers, teachers defined as engaged in any level of instruction. And of course, teachers should be a full-time basis. That's why if you are, for example, you're a nurse and then you're teaching in a school or in a public school, which be a part-timer, you will not be considered as a teachers based on Magna Carta. Next is that teachers also may be considered as a guidance counselor, school librarian, industrial art, and vocational instructor. And those who are doing supervisory and administrative function. Now who will not be included are as a teachers based on Magna Carta. So not include are the nurses, physicians, dentists, professorial staff of state colleges and universities. So what will be the qualifications? So the qualification for kinder and elementary should be graduate of basic elementary education. For secondary, is a graduate of bachelor and secondary educations are the equivalent. For example, if you are AB grad and you want to teach in a public school, you should have 18 professional educational units, as well as if you are BS grad, you should take also 18 professional educational units. And for tertiary level, it should be MA master's degree graduate with his or her specialization. However, the superintendent may appoint an applicant who possess a minimum qualification requirement. But the applicant should take competitive examinations. Okay, and teachers is under section 5 is under the security and tenure. So teacher is secured for tenure of service. That's why even this pandemic, we're still undergoing a paid salary. And of course, we have a provisional status. So those who are don't meet minimum qualifications as a teachers that the superintendent may appoint, they may have a temporary status or known as a provisional status. But however, if you pass the civil service examination, you should not be considered to have a provisional status. And if you already undergo training, seminars, that you may be capable in teachings, you should not have a point as a provisional status. But if you're this in classification as provisional status and you serve for 10 years of continuous and faithful service, you are considered to be part of security and tenure. So that's what under section 5. For transfer under section 6 of Republic Act 4670, so teachers should have consent about the transfer. Okay, so the teachers should have the consent if we are going to transfer the teacher in other locality. Next is 3 months before national and local election, there should be no transfer because we are teachers facilitate the one who facilitate the elections. And of course, if the superintendent or this is necessary and based on the superintendent, the teachers require to transfer in other locality, the moving expenses and as well as the travel expenses should be shouldered by the government. Next, teachers have the right of safeguard in disciplinary procedure under section 8. So, the teacher should be informed in writings of the charges. So, hindi pwede yung sasabihin mo lang si teachers, kakausapin mo siya, what the charges o ano yung violations are nagawa niyang mali. That's wrong. Should be informed the teachers in writing. And of course, the teachers has the right to the evidences, full access of evidences, and the right to appeal and no publicity. That's why disregard natin yung sa rapid tool and action kung saan yung teacher is reklamo ng parents dahil pinalabas niya yung bata because hindi dala yung card. So, it is not good that the trial will be in public because in DepEd, we have the process about disciplinary procedure. So, as administrator, the best answer to that is that let's have the trial in Friday because the DepEd has already the process how to handle disciplinary procedure. And of course, that the right of the teacher in that situation is violate kasi hindi naman niya siya na-inform about the charges. And of course, hindi na niya na-access, hindi siya aware na mayroong video na ipinadala sa rapid tool to in action. So, dyan na lang is na-violate na yung right ni teachers as under section 8 in safeguard and disciplinary procedures of the teachers. Then we have the other provisions under Magna Carta. So we have, if we are both public school teachers, should be assigned in same locality. For example, my husband is assigned in Quezon. I am here in Laguna and I'm requesting to be transferred in Quezon. That is my right. So based on Magna Carta, those couple who has both public school teachers have the right to be assigned in the same locality. And of course, we have the right to academic freedom. That's why some of us, the administrator or other may not questions why we are taking master's degree or doctoral degree or PhD degree because we have the right to academic freedom. Of course, no active teaching beyond 6 hours. So, because the 2 hours is a point for our preparations in our other paperworks or in our lesson for the next days. But if it is needed for us to teach 8 hours, because of there will be example of scarcity of teachers, it is allowed. Only that if teaching is up to 8 hours, you should have the 25% of a basic pay. So may bayad kapag more than 8 hours yung active teaching natin. Pero yung if needed lang tayo within 8 hours because there's a scarcity or sabihin natin kulang yung teachers dun sa locality na yun, it is okay. Ang hindi lang okay is yung sobra sa 8 hours. Because if sobra na yung active teaching mo, you are required to at 25% of a basic pay. So it means may overtime pay if beyond 8 hours yung active teachings natin. Then the other procedure is a special hardship allowance. Yung mga teachers na na-assign sa mga area na hazardous is subject to hazard pay. So the Department of Education is the one who will dictate if the locality or the place where you're teaching is subject to hazard pay. And of course, deductions are prohibited. So we are prohibited for the deductions. So it is said in section 21, no person shall make any deductions whatsoever from the salary of teachers except under a specific authority of law authorizing such deductions. Then, of course, free access of medical examination. So medical examination should be provided free of charge for all teachers before they take up teaching and shall be repeated not less than once a year during the teacher's professional life. So that's why before tayo pumasok sa public school and every year after nagpapasok sa public school, the government shall provide our pre-medical examinations for teachers. So ibig sabihin, hindi dapat tayo naglalabas ng pera because it is under the Magna Carta, the examination of teachers should be free of charge. Okay, then of course, we are compensation for injuries. So there are also medical trouble reimbursement. Okay, and of course, the other provision is study leave. So if we are going to have leave about meron tayo nagtitaking off or nagda-dissertation tayo and we want to have the leave, we are guaranteed because under the Magna Carta, we have the study leave. Okay, and of course, we have indefinite sick leave. So if you need to recover for a certain sickness, we have the apply indefinite sick leave. Only that, hindi tayo sasahod dito. But of course, we are still in the teaching profession. And once we are recovered, pwede na tayong bumalik into teachings. And of course, we have freedom to join in any organizations. So that's our right as a public school teacher. So what will be my conclusions about the Magna Carta of the public school teachers? So the first one is that the government is aware that teachers play an important role. Yes, because it under section 1, which is the declaration's policy, our social economic status, our career, and our way of life is important because we are the vital in economic growth of our nations. Next is public school teachers are the government's right arm. And teachers should know their rights. So we have the right to access for our rights and privileges as a public school teachers. So that's all. Thank you for listening.